Hey y'all guys, it's the Tab and Dillard podcast. Oh me, I'm Tab and Dillard, and this is season 6, episode 15. This is the very last episode of season 6 of the Tab and Dillard podcast. Now, if you've been listening to the podcast, it's like a radio show for any amount of time, any number of minutes, as they say. Then you know that I think it was after season 2. Going into season 3, there was this, hey, are we going to keep doing this kind of thing? Well, there ain't no mystery between season 6 and season 7. Like, I'm planning on cranking up next season, next week. And we heading into a new season of the Tab and Dillard podcast. And I basically do 15 episodes every season. Why, Tabin? I don't know. At some point, I just kind of made that up. I don't know how podcasts work. I didn't go to school for podcastology. But I do live in my town, and I live in my trailer park, Chancellor Park, and I know about what's going on in my neck of the woods, and so I can talk about that. Now, that don't make me a podcastologist. That makes me a fella that live where he live and do what he do. And I'm glad you joined me on this special episode of the podcast today, because it's the Q&A, which means y'all sent in questions, and now I'm about to answer them in this episode. Did I answer every question that got sent in? Almost. I mean, everyone that came in time, I think I got them all, is what I'm saying. But if you sent it, after Tuesday last week, after the last week's episode came out, basically Wednesdays or later, there is a possibility, like I said, that they didn't make it into the podcast because I had to organize all them questions. Now that gets into different kind of work that really ain't up my alley. Like, hey, can you have all this stuff get in to come into you, and then you assemble it, and then you organize it, and all that kind of thing. That sounds more like somebody that went to Spreadsheetology University. I ain't a spreadsheeter, but anyways, I organized these questions best I could. Now the thing about that is, I tried to keep grabbing them even after Tuesday or Wednesday, but they may not all be here. In fact, they can't all be here, but there's a lot of them. So if you got yours in the last couple of weeks, you should hear your question today. Some folks ask similar questions, and instead of just combining them, I just keep reading them, so we'll see how that go today. So we're doing that in a little bit. Season 7 starting a week, so you got that to put on your calendar. Get out your pen and get out your pencil and your paper, and you write it down. You mark your calendar like, oh, season 7's next week. We into the Junes now. If you listening to this on the day it came out, today's Tuesday's the June the 6th. So that's how that go. Welcome. I hope your summer's going well. I got my Cannonball shirt on because why, Tab? Well, it's June. It's Cannonball month. Watermelon helmet season is kicked off too. It's been a busy week. We had National Donut Day last week on Fridays. Did you know that June 2nd was National Donut Day? Well, if you didn't, who cares? You can still have a donut today. What else do we got going on? Well, I wanted to talk about, this is just a little side note, a couple side notes. I don't know, 2 or 3 side notes. I ain't keeping track, but if you want to, I'm going to put a link to Patreon in the show notes. Now, Patreon is a place, it's like where you can see other stuff. If you want to just support me, like I like tabbing what he's doing, I want to help him out. That's a place to do that. And then also right now, I've been turning out weekly, like kind of exclusive videos, like you don't see that whole video. I might take part of it and turn it into a social media post, and the social media is like on the Facebooks or the TikToks or the Instagrams or the YouTubes. So you can check that out, and see what you got there on Patreon. But then also, speaking of Facebooks, like I said, there's 2 or 3 side notes. Something happened to my fan page on Facebook last week, and it's gone. The Facebooks took it down, and so I don't know how that worked. I don't know if it'll be back up. So if you follow me on Facebook only, and you're like, I don't know where Tabin's videos went. Well, your guess is as good as mine. They gone. But they said it's temporarily. I don't know, maybe by the time this podcast, today, or, this happened the end of last week, so maybe it's back up now, or maybe I don't know. it's hard to, I don't know who's answering the phones over there at the Facebook, but anyhow, it's not up right now, and I ain't sure why. It's not clear on that, but you can find me on the Instagrams and the YouTubes and the TikToks, and then you got my phone number. That's one of the best ways to keep in touch, because if something ever happens and it's like, oh, that Facebook page disappeared, hypothetically speaking, but not hypothetically, because it did get unpublished, then you got a way to get in touch with me, and I can tell you, oh, well, here's where you can find my videos now. 501-322-6249. Y'all know that if y'all send in text message for the Q&A, my number, but that'll be in the show notes. Patreon, of course, my phone number, email, business inquiries. Folks been asking about live shows this summer. Looks like I'll be in Oklahoma, and then working on a couple other spots right now, and at the end of July. So once that gets figured out, I'll let y'all know. Tavin's bacon bag with more popcorn bacon at the bottom. There's like 4 pieces cut up on the bottom of this. That's moving now. If you need some sort of gift for Father's Day or for your own mouth, that's the Tavin's bacon bag. That'll be in the show notes today too. So here's the side note that I wanted to get to before I get to the Q&A. And that's, if you're watching on the YouTubes, now this don't mean nothing to you if you're just listening. Well, I mean, it means something, but you can't see the picture, because the way podcast works is for your ears. You listen to it. But I got on a Bink Bink hat. But if you notice, here's the Bink Bink hat I usually wear. See how the bill is darker? And the reason I just seen this hanging in my trailer, this other one with the gray bill, and I just thought I'd put it on. Now, the reason I don't wear this is because it ain't available. I don't wear it much. This was the original Bink Bink hat, but I don't remember when it launched, but it's when there's shortages of all kind of things that folks couldn't get. And I want to say, I'm guessing we sold maybe 12 hats. I don't know that I ever got the exact number of how many hats sold, but for some reason my head was like 12 before they was out of stock. And then what came back in stock was these with just a different bill. So these are the ones that are available now. But I think about 12 folks out there in the world got this one. I guess it's exclusive, or it's a rare one. Anyways, is hanging on the wall of my trailer. I thought I'd put it on today for this, so that's what that's about. And then Father's Day, coming up, folks been ordering them personal greetings, for their daddies. And so you can do that. There's going to be a link in the show note for the personal greetings where I wish folks a happy Father's Day or whatever. And then, these are just some shirts, if you're thinking about Father's Day gifts. There's the turkey salmon. You know about that? I feel better hunting turkey salmon wearing a turkey salmon shirt, but that's just me. And then there's the Thunder Punch shirt. That's Coach Hicks Boxing Gym. Y'all know about that. A lot of folks got a hold of these shirts when they came out, and I think folks are still getting a hold of them. So that's that one. Of course, the Pickle Boon came out. Pickle Boon. And then the Early Bird Gets the Perm shirts, and these are just a few of quite a few shirts. Early Bird Gets the Perm, classic green, like Attaway. And then the Early Bird Gets the Perm, and that's that was the limited edition Mother's Day kind of purple, paint purple shirt. So anyways, links to shirts are going to be in the show notes today too. And so that's just a little housekeeping. Just thought, hey, if you need ideas, I got them for you. Check the show notes today. If you don't need ideas, well, hey, let's get on to the Q&A. Let's see who sent in what today, shall we? So I'll just read your name and your question and do my best to answer it. Xander asked me, what's your opinion on electric toothbrushes? Well, Xander, I know that them are fancy, but they like remote control cars to me. It's like the battery dies or something happened early on, and next thing you know, you're using it like a regular toothbrush anyway, but it's overpriced regular toothbrush. So if you can maintain the battery and everything, I think that'd be good for you. You still got to do a little work. It ain't like they're going to do the whole thing for you, but it does make maybe it makes make it a little more fun to brush your teeth. Now, I don't know if it's like hair dryers, like you can't drop them in a bathtub or electrocute you, them electric toothbrushes, but I mean, they want you to run it underwater, when you put that toothpaste on there. So I don't know the ins and outs of that, but they okay. I say they okay. So now we got Nathan H. He's from Moorhead, Kentucky. He said, tell me about the eye doctor and the dentist and the doctors in Chancellor Park. Does anybody go? Yeah, folks go to places. I mean, you got the clinic in town. That's busy all the time. You got Cheryl Grubbs doing a second-degree burn with hot oatmeal on her thigh, you know, dropping that off her breakfast plate. And then there's just all kinds of like accidents. Folks ain't perfect where I live, and so because of that, you need doctors and that kind of thing, and dentists and the old the eye doctors for your spectacles and receptacles. I don't know. I don't know if that's part of the eye. I didn't go to eye school. I did not go to eye school. I went to high school. I didn't have a members only jacket because it was too expensive. I got like a knockoff, and I made it a Letterman jacket by stapling local sports headlines to it. But nobody asked that question. Okay, Mike. Does Tabin have a love interest? Yeah, I do. I'm dating my gal Cricket, and she's in a video recently with me where I had to share an apple frittler with her, and it went okay. You know, if you got the right plan, you can figure out how to share and still how to, you know, have a little donut for yourself. What food does Tabin dislike? I don't like pickles. Now, if you fry them, you fry just about anything, I can put a hurting on it. But you just give me like a dill pickle or a sweet pickle or a bread and butter pickle to eat, or say, hey, you want extra pickles on your hamburgers? I was like, no, I want the opposite of that. No pickles, more for you. Take them. I just don't like them. Who is Tabin's biggest hero? I guess the biggest hero of me, Mike, I'd have to say is whoever invented the waterbed. I mean, I don't know how that technology works, but it's a bed, but it's water. But you sleep on it, and you ain't getting wet, but you sleeping on water? Come on. Somebody's a genius out there. That's all I know. Now, James, he said, have you thought about attaching a cup holder to your watermelon helmet with a straw drink, your ice, I guess a straw to drink your ice cold Dr. Pepper from while you ramping bikes in a trailer park? I typically ain't going to ramp with any liquid. That's just, you know, the Dr. Pepper will be sitting on the side, you know, to drink after I break world records. Now, the thing about it is, I mentioned the Tabin's bag of bacon. Now, if you've seen these bags, I know you can't see them if you're just listening, but if you've seen them before, you know that they basically look like a drink pouch. You know, like them fruit pouches that kids drink out of. Well, when you eat all the bacon, which don't take long, what I'm thinking about doing this summer is I can fill this whole thing, because you can seal it at the top like a resealable bag. And I got this, let's say, full of sweet tea, and then I poke a hole in here for a big old straw, and I got my own like drink pouch. It's a win-win. So I may do that this summer. And these attach easily to the watermelon helmet. I already did a video, you know, this past weekend or so on that. So I plan on attaching a drink to the watermelon helmet. It's highly likely, James. It's highly likely. Michael from Australia. We started a rumor here that you might have secret middle names that Meemaw have that people mostly don't know about. I wonder if you mean that Meemaw has a secret middle name for me, or I got a secret middle name for Meemaw. Could you confirm that this rumor is true and tell us what they are? I like that you started a rumor about middle names in Australia, but let me tell you something, Michael. Hey, there ain't no secrets to people's names, you know, in my town. Ricky Don Pearson, folks know his whole name. Donnie Wayne Chambliss, folks know his whole name. Delma Spencer. Now, they got middle names, but nobody care. You know, everybody knowed about them anyways, you know, because anytime any of us got in trouble in the public square, the whole town heard our middle names. So I ain't got no nicknames for Meemaw, and I ain't allowed to make up names for Meemaw. That ain't my job. I learned that at an early age. I can't call her something that she didn't say, Tabin, you can call me. I don't have no freedom there. You know, that's Meemaw. And that's how it go, Michael. Appreciate the question. Now, Jennifer, would you ever consider hiring your brother Brett if business picked up, or would he be a liability due to his criminal bank history? Well, Jennifer, you know, you don't want to ever say never, but my brother Brett will cost me more money than he would ever make me from the record that he has right now, from his, the resume that he would present, and I look back at history, the pattern over the years that you can kind of track is that, that fella costs people money. He takes stuff that ain't his, he breaks stuff that ain't his, and you get into my livelihood, and you breaking my mower, or you breaking my edger, or any of the equipment I have, you break a rake, buddy, any of that stuff, which has happened. There's a real slim chance. Would I say never? Well, folks can change, but if you ask me today, would I hire my brother Brett? No. I'll mow a lawn on crutches before I hire him. That's how that go. Eva, one of them got to be right. She asked, Tabin, I love your artwork that you draw and design on your shirts. Now, that ain't a question. She's just saying I appreciate that. I did draw, the fully mature peacock with a squirrel in a headlock just on his shirt. The turkey salmon I drawed. Early bird gets the perm. I did draw that one. There's a new Rachel Christine shirt I'm thinking about. So I have done, and she said, did you attend art classes, or are you just naturally talented? Well, I did have an art class in elementary school, at the elementary schoolhouse. They did some art times, and I wasn't the best. I did a lot of gluing, paper mache to construction paper. Got into the glitter a little bit, for them crafts. Stuff that me mom might want to put on the fridge, or I thought she might. Turns out she didn't. But I guess you could say, it's a little bit of schooling and a little bit of, just me with the typing paper and the Sharpie marker going to town like that away. So that's how that go. But I appreciate that, and more t-shirts to come. I did do the Team Burger Shed shirt, which I ain't got right here in the trailer today. It's Rock City's got it in the mailbox to me, hopefully this week. It should be here this week. Where I got the sleeves just past the elbows, Team Burger Shed 2023, with the roster on the back. And folks are saying, hey, I see you bat leadoff or bat cleanup, but I really do usually bat, usually I'm batting leadoff. But anyhow, the reason I'm number 4 is because I wrote our names in alphabet order. So Tabin, Dillard, my last name start with a D, so I'm about JT Whitlow's at the bottom of the list because he start with a W. But that's coming out. Okay, Nathan. Hey, Tabin, what is your favorite scratch and sniff sticker? Remember the one called Cut Grass? I do remember that. Them scratch and sniffs, the ones I liked the best, was stuff that smelled like stuff I could eat. Now, I didn't eat the stickers, but that grape, boy, they really figured out, they dialed in that grape smell on them grape scratch and sniff stickers. And the strawberry, buddy, you could barely beat it. Now, there's one I remember they did the chocolate, it's like a chocolate bar or chocolate, and it smelled pretty good too. It wasn't like the fruity ones, boy, they really knew how to burst with flavors, what I remember. But I remember that Cut Grass. But as a school kid, as a school child, as a child in school, at the schoolhouse, Cut Grass wasn't my favorite. Smelled at the time. I liked that strawberry though. I sure enough did. Okay, thanks for that question. Now, Wendy, what's the craziest thing that's happened or that you've seen while you've been on the job mowing, edging, grass cutting, legend? Wendy, we ain't got time to go into all of them, but I will say one times, Ronnie Keith, and it's less about how me being on the job. I mean, I was out there, I wasn't cutting Russell Tucker's yard. They got a little pond on their property, and Ronnie Keith, he drove a zero turn into that pond. He just hammered down, went straight toward that pond, blade up kind of thing. Didn't know what he was doing. Thought he understood. He gave him a little bit of instruction. Russell told him, but it wasn't time for him to go. But he got over there on that thing before Russell knew what happened. Next thing you know, they fishing him and a zero turn out of that pond. I'm thinking, boy, that means just a little lesson learned. Hey, you take the instruction and you just learn it slow. Otherwise, you haul and tail into the middle of the water. I mean, they got snapping turtles in that pond, crawdads, all kind of things. Cottonmouth, so Ronnie Keith living on the edge. So that's pretty crazy. And then, once you know he's going to be okay, then it's just like, what kind of circus is this? Because them zero turns don't come cheap. They're going to cost you a little bit of money. So that's one thing I did see out at Russell Tucker's. Thanks for the question, Wendy. Jim and Jenny P say, peekaboo. And I say, peekaboo back, y'all two. Do you ever get to laughing during your stories and have to do retakes? Well, Jim and Jenny, I'm telling you, this is just serious stuff. I mean, this stuff that went on in town. I mean, you got Delma Spencer in one flip-flop, or Cheryl Grubbs getting caught in a bike rack. You thinking, what in the world? And in the middle of it, you like, I can't believe this is going on. What's the plan here? You know, like that away. Jalapeno, Cheryl Grubbs' doggy tearing up the back of that Chevy Cobalt, and they got to keep the windows down. Boy, that's serious stuff. You know, Doreen Fundle trying to steal stuff from the mess hall during arts and crafts lesson to take back to her room to show Captain Thunderboots at the nursing home. I mean, these are the things that say, boy, it's real life going on. So I don't really too much, but you say, Jim and Jenny say, we love your stories. I almost believe that donuts are good for us. Well, you should. There's a lot of strength in a donut. I mean, eyesight, lower back pain, all that stuff, tennis elbow, it addresses all them things. So they good, and typically in most towns there's a donut store not too far away. So you're probably gonna be in good hands. Thanks for the laughter. You welcome. Your friends in Northern California. Go with the Creamfield. Thanks, Jim and Jenny. I appreciate the recommendation. I just might do that this week with the old Creamfield. Mike, have you given Cricket a promise ring? No, y'all. I hope she don't listen to this neither. Y'all giving ideas like that's a lot of pressure. You know how long it took me to ask her out, y'all guys? I ain't giving her one yet. And then Mike also said, have you ever gone saltwater fishing? I ain't, Mike, but I've been invited. Folks have invited me to go saltwater fishing, and I guess because they live near saltwater, not because they just dump salt in their swimming pool, you know, or whatever. And so maybe I'll take somebody up on that offer. Have you ever gone, Mike? I know this ain't your Q&A. I'm supposed to be asking the answers or telling the answers. But I ain't gone. Taylor, when are you going to propose to Cricket? Well, here's the other question. Well, I ain't got her a promise ring yet, Taylor, so much less an engagement ring or whatever kind of thing. So I don't know, y'all guys. There's some things I'm trying to get in order, but I appreciate the support, but I hope she don't watch this podcast. That's going to put a little more pressure on me this summer when I'm trying to get lawns mowed and Meme all squared away in her water aerobics class down at the city pool that Coach Hicks is teaching. Christopher M. says, have you considered t-shirts with Meemaw's baby dolls on them? Well, yeah, I mentioned that a little bit. I got more on that, though. Or maybe a children's book. Bink, bink. I guess I do have a children's book. I mean, it ain't about Meemaw's baby dolls. I feel like that'd be too scary for children. But I do have the Fully Mature Peacock with the Squirrel in the Headlock. The book is right here in my hand. Now, if you listen to the podcast, it's just for your ears, but just know that I have that. I'll put a link to this book in the show notes today. I drawed the artwork, the illustrations in here. I drawed them all. So there's that. But a Meemaw baby doll book, I don't know. A t-shirt with baby doll. Well, hold on, Christopher M, because Brendan B has a follow-up question, and I can just answer y'all's together. Brendan B, have you ever thought about making a Rachel Christine shirt, or maybe Meemaw's baby doll collection shirt? I thought it would be a cool idea, and you could draw them sitting on the shelf and put their names underneath each baby doll. That ain't a bad idea, Brendan and Christopher. I do have a Rachel Christine artwork, and I will tell you right now, it's supposed to drop this new shirt on July the 1st. So, you know, at the beginning of next month. So in about a month. And this is the artwork we're going with. Of course, again, if you listen to the podcast, you can't see. It's Rachel Christine. See, you got her braids here, and then her name in the middle with the exclamation points, like that away. So that's the plan for the Rachel Christine shirt right now. I don't have all the baby dolls on the shirt yet or nothing like that, but you know, I try to listen to what folks is asking about. Oh, I'd like to see this or that. Now, you know, you can't do them all, and I don't think people want them all, but we kind of brainstorm together, see what we can come up with that works. So that's what we heading toward, though, on July 1st, a Rachel Christine shirt. Rachel Christine! John C., if you had a bazooka, some toothpicks, and a balloon animal puppy dog, would you eat a bacon double cheeseburger while riding a buffalo into the pharmacy store on a warm summer afternoon to pick up some batteries and Advil for your gal Cricket? Well, I get a bacon double cheeseburger anyway, and I don't have to go through the hassle of finding a Bazooka or Buffalo. And Cricket, she drank Dr. Pepper for headaches. She said that caffeine just kill it, so she don't take no Advil. So that's how that goes, John C. Joe S. says this is from his two sons, Danger Liam and Ninja Tater. What's the age difference between you and Brett? Well, Brett's my older brother. He's 2 years older than me. I don't know how old y'all are compared to each other, if y'all 2 years apart or not, but me and my brother are. When's your birthday, Tavin? My birthday's in March, so it done passed this year, and I celebrated it. So that's when it is. Thank y'all for the questions. And now we're moving on to Larry. He says, we all know you're a lawn mowing legend. Well, thank you. Yeah. Was Daddy Dillard also in the business, or are you a self-made legend? My dad was a truck driver. So, no, I mean, he knew how to mow lawn, but I guess you could say I had to do a little trial and error with the old mowing, edging, grass cutting legend business. But I figured it out. You get around enough lawns, you figure out how to do that. So I guess I didn't inherit no business, so I guess that make me self-made. And that's how that go. And I like to do it. I like being outside. New location every day. So that's a wonderful thing. Dave, he asked me, I said Dave's name like I had a question for him, like he's in my trailer. Hey, Dave, can you get me a Dr. Pepper out the fridge? No, Dave ain't here. Dave said, what's your favorite date night with Cricket? Well, there's two places in town I like to go, on date night, but not, we go to other places, but Bigham's all-you-can-eat catfish buffet, that's Tuesday nights. They got the all-you-can-eat open. That's a good place. The food's good. It's easy to get in and out of there kind of thing. I like that. But, I mean, if you just want to get a little more scenery, you want to get a little more like, hey, let's make this special. I go out to the bait and tackle, fishing clips. You go there in the evening when the sun's setting. You got the lake right there. You got the patio where you eat the fish and chips that Rance Farnhart makes. I mean, it's called Fishing Clips out there because he give haircuts, but not on a date, I don't go out there and say, hey, Cricket, watch Rance cut my hair, and then we'll eat, kind of thing. We go out there, though, and hey, if Donnie Wayne Chambliss got that aluminum bass boat out there, that 12-foot, he'll let it take it out. So, I mean, you got that. You just imagine sunset, eating on the patio at Fishing Clips, and then doing a little cruise around the lake in a bass boat after. I mean, that's a wonderful thing. And Rance got them to-go cups. So you can have a cup of sweet tea in there in the boat with you. So that's that, Dave. Theta, Tavin is such a cool name. Are you named after someone in your family? I don't think so. It's just that's what they thought sounded good. Now, I will say, several years ago, when I first started making YouTube videos, somebody said, hey, we named our baby Tavin, and I said, did they? And I remember checking on Facebook, and there they are, like holding a little baby, and they caption it, oh, Tavin's having such a good day. I was like, well, they did. So apparently folks have been named after me, but I don't think I'm named after anybody. Annalisa from Ontario, do you think Millie Ricks would stop trapping animals to give them a bath or make little outfits for them if someone just brought her home a doggy? She seems to want to take care of these animals. Well, I don't know that Millie wants to take care of anything, truth be told. I think she had a dog one time, and her daughter finally came and picked it up. That's the daughter she called on speakerphone at Rickard's grocery store, asking her if she liked ice cream. Like, that's your daughter, who's probably in her 60s, late 60s now, because Millie's 80, 90. Asking your daughter, like, you known her for 60 years and you don't know if she like ice cream, and you got to do it on speakerphone? Oh, come on, Millie. So I just don't think, her daughter anyways, that's the one that took one of her doggies. I don't know if she forgot to feed it or if she tried, because she working with like hair dryers, wanting to blow dry skunk's hair and wash it, and that ain't gonna happen. And I don't know, maybe she just spooked the dog, or she either took too much care of it or she forgot to take care of it. I don't know. I think Millie needs probably like a baby doll collection like Meemaw, so you don't really got to remember to feed them. Meemaw don't forget to brush Rachel Christine's hair. But if Millie did forget to brush a baby doll's hair, it ain't gonna hurt nobody kind of thing. Except maybe that baby doll's feelings. So I don't know. I don't think giving Millie a live animal is the way to solve any of her problems. Michelle M. has a question for the Q&A, and that's what this is. Season 6, Episode 15, Q&A, Tab and Dillard Podcast. Welcome, everybody. If you just jumped in and started playing this podcast like 20 minutes in or whatever it is. Anyhow, here we are. Michelle says, first of all, love the podcast. Michelle, thank you. I appreciate that. The episode where you described going to the city pool for the first time this season was wonderful. Well, I appreciate that too. I had a question for your Q&A episode. Or maybe it's just a suggestion and doesn't need to be in your Q&A. Well, it is. It is, Michelle. How about a Chancellor Park cookbook? You could put in recipes for dinner rolls, softer than a baby angel's leg, 3-bean salad, bacon double cheeseburgers, buds, Mimo's biscuits and gravy, bacon sandwiches, watermelon helmets, apple fritlers with butter on them. Maybe instead of publishing it, you could sell it as a PDF along with your t-shirts and such. Well, Michelle, that's a good idea. Truth be told, I mean, you thinking like a business person. I did make a cookbook a couple years ago. I got it all ready to go. I just never got it published. I never went to all the work of actually getting it ready and out there, but I had the BO sandwich in there, the bacon-only sandwich, and then other I was basically a sandwich cookbook. And and I still may do that cookbook. I mean, it's an option. It do exist. It just never got, presented and published and told to the world. But basically, just for between me and you, everything in that cookbook I think was 3 ingredients or less. Pimento cheese and white bread sandwich, bologna white bread and cheese sandwich, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, strawberry butter on a roll sandwich kind of thing. I mean, I think I had like 12 recipes in there, or I have. I mean, they still exist, like I said. But that ain't a bad idea, and I do think about food, and I do eat it, and I do make it. So, I mean, that sounds like we might be winning with that. Thanks for the question, Michelle. Now we're looking at Tony. Tavin, if you won the softball championship, how would you guys celebrate? Also, why is there no mixed teams, boys and gals? Boy, if we won the softball championship, I don't know. I mean, I imagine we'd storm the field and people be so excited we'd try to hoist Myron Curtis up high and then realize his girth is not worth the lower back pain and strain, and if he gets dropped, then he's injured. Now, I know the season would be over at that point, but he do drive a snack truck, and I don't know how well he could do like that. But we'd probably end up at the burger shed because that's the team we is, and then Bud would probably at least give us a discount. I mean, he pretty thrifty with them discounts, but I mean, if you bring home the adult softball league championship, I imagine he'd want to pitch in a little bit, but that's just my guess. Why is there no? You talk about co-ed. That's what they call co-ed softball. They had that, and it's somewhere over the years, interest was not there, and then we got this. Now, there are some teams that, not in our league, but they try to do, them church leagues where they do the co-ed, but we just, how things just happen. It's like, well, nobody wanted to, so that's how it shook down, in our town. Tracy, would you consider dumping cricket and marrying me? Well, let's see what Tracy's offer is here. Leave Chancellor Park. Okay, that's a hard sell. I'll tell you, just starting off that right out of the blocks, it's a hard sell. And come live in Australia. Okay, now see, I mean, that's a ways. That's a ways from Chancellor. I ain't mapped it out, but that's a ways. In Australia, in Queensland, on the Gold Coast, and I will love you forever. Well, there's a couple of problems with that, Tracy. Dumping cricket, just breaking up with anybody's hard to do, and then breaking up with somebody you don't want to break up with, that's even harder to do. But then, I don't know the directions to Australia. I can ramp a bike pretty far, okay? I ain't gonna brag. I mean, it ain't bragging if it's the truth. And I'm just telling you right now, I can ramp a bike pretty far, but I don't think I'd be able to clear that ocean. I mean, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be able to. And then I could get a 12-foot aluminum bass boat, but I'd end up on the news, I'm pretty sure. I seen them waves in the oceans in them storybooks and them pictures and in them National Geographic shows where it gets pretty choppy out there. So I think just the travel itself would be what they call problematic I don't know what they call that in Australia, but in Chancellor Park, we call that problematic. But I appreciate the offer, Tracy. Roland K. I have a few questions for you about lawn mowing. You may have already talked about these. I have talked about mowers before. He wants to know what kind you use, 2-cycle, 4, Briggs, Stratton, bag or no. The one I use right now has got a bag on it, on the back kind of thing. I've used a Craftsman. I've used a Ryobi electric one. Thing about them electric ones with the batteries, I don't know what happened, but it didn't work for a while. And I just put it away in the shed for a year, and I tried it a year later, and all of a sudden it's working again. Now, you don't really want one that you can't rely on for a year, but now it's cranked back up and worked fine. The gas ones, that's what I growed up with. That's what I prefer, but I got electric one. Now, I do for the edger trimmer, I use electric one for the edger, and that's been working real good. I ain't had a problem with it. I don't mind the gas though, because that's a good smell like hard work. Then Roland also says, I don't regularly get paid to mow, but I have in the past and have been mowing all my life, so I consider myself a professional in the sport. Well, I never thought of mowing as a sport. I just thought of it as a job, but I know there are professional athletes, and that sport is their job. Are you a member of the Great Southern Circuit of the American Professional Lawn Mowing League of America? No. There's so much to be learned and shared about each team's pre-regular and postseason challenges. No, the only folks I talk to, I guess my team's a little more local. PJ McGee, he mowed the city fields. He do the city work. He worked for the local government, in the city. He the one that mowed the softball fields we play on. And so we might swap stories or tips sometimes where it's like, oh, yeah, I tried this. Oh, can you believe that? Did you hear about Russell Tucker's little boy, Ronnie Keith, on that zero turn? Oh, I know. He didn't have the proper training. I mean, Russell told him, but he didn't let his daddy show him. He just went into it. So I hope that helps you, though, Roland. Just get some clarity for you. And then Rocky W got a question. Besides donut goes, where do you recommend for the average person to get a frittler? I tell you, I don't know a chain right now off the top of my head. Them mom and pops, in your local area, check out them. Them's the best frittlers I ever got. There ain't one at a gas station across the country or any of them big old chains that they ain't big enough for me. All them frittlers are a little small, so I'd say that you go to one nearby that's just the mom and pops, and give that a shot. And if you come through my town, ask for Cheryl Grubbs at Donut Goes. They got them there. Joel C., Dream Vacation, Surf or Turf, Myrtle Beach or Gatlinburg. I do either one of them places because they all got beautiful downtowns with places to eat. They got food that I could put a hurting on, and that's pretty much the big deal. I mean, if you ain't eating right on vacation, is it really a vacation? So that's what I'd say. And I'll go to either one of them places, Myrtle Beach or Gatlinburg. Them's my people, Joel C. Tell you like that away. So, hey, and if y'all got recommendations on places to eat in Myrtle Beach or Gatlinburg, holler at me. And then we start building our own, Tabendiller Dream Vacations. I want the Tabendiller Dream Vacation to Myrtle Beach, where you stay here and you eat here. I don't know. All right, Greg W. My two teenage sons, Dax and Denver, will be on the same high school soccer team next year. Did you play any high school sports? I did not play officially on a team, but I did make that members only jacket, the Letterman I told you about. If so, what did you play? I didn't. They tried to get me in track, and I was like, I don't know why I'd want to start in one place and end up in the same place when I was already there, and there ain't bacon at the finish line, so I wasn't too motivated to get there kind of thing. Do you have any advice or words of wisdom for my sons? Well, Daxton in Denver, pass the ball on the soccer field. And let me tell you right now, if you're playing soccer, don't walk. You ain't watching. You ain't spectator. So you be run. Even if they score on you, you run back to get in position. You score on them, you run back to get in your position. And you running, your head's on a swivel. I mean, you got to be watching your periphery, front ways, back ways, and then just you got to keep moving. If you're playing soccer, that was your choice. Hey, I don't know if your daddy made you play soccer, but y'all on the team now. So don't forget to pass the ball and don't stop moving unless you're on the sidelines. And then you ain't in the game. So that's what I say. Good luck in the soccer season, y'all guys. Thanks for the question. Mike B., other than that black nanner, what's the worst thing that's been thrown on Hank Thistle's burn pile? Imogene Watkins made some prune compote that I don't know if it goes on pancakes or toast, but that was pretty sour. And I think Raymond couldn't handle it. Like Raymond shuffled down there from him and Imogene's house and dumped that on the burn pile. And Hank gagged. And Raymond gagged, but Raymond's like, you imagine trying to eat that. You think just the smell will gag you. So he let him do it. Is there any possibility of you convincing Bud and letting you share that biscuits and gravy recipe? I tried, Mike B. I don't think so right now, but maybe I catch him on a different day and I can try to see what we can do. All right. Wendy H. Does Tavin have any arch enemies besides Rachel Christine? Probably my brother Brett. You know, and a lot of times Delma Spencer seemed like in town, but she kind of working against everybody, it seemed like. What are you and Meemaw scared of? Meemaw's scared of frostbite. I don't know where that came from. I don't know if it was something that, like, she got locked in a meat freezer once, you know, when she used to work at the grocery store. I don't know. That's just a rumor I just now made up, but she's scared of frostbite. Me, I'm scared of snapping turtles. I don't like getting in them muddy water ponds and lakes where I can't see what's under there, and them things got powerful jaws. Am I superstitious? I don't think so. How do you feel about going to the doctor? It's fine. Like I said, there's enough injuries in town, but I just try to, you know, keep my strength up with bacon, Dr. Pepper, curly fries, and of course, donuts, and that seemed to be working. Stephen B., how are Bean Dip and Mary Beth Tucker doing? I feel like you haven't mentioned them in a while. Well, Stephen B., I feel like I mention them all the time, but maybe it's just in my head or being in town and I don't tell y'all the stories. But Bean Dip is obvious. That's Myron Curtis's nickname because he's a snack delivery driver. But they doing well. They still in love, and she working at concession stand this softball season right now that we, you know, 5 games into this season. So she doing good. Matthew D., Hank's burn pile. Is Hank steady burning 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365, or is it just piled up year round and he just burn it occasionally? Thanks, love the show. Thank you, Matthew. It's always there. It's whenever Hank wants to. Hank make the rules. If he want to burn something today, he burning it. If he want to just pile it up and wait till it gets bigger, he do that. But it always seemed to be smoldering, if you ask me. Rusty S., my wife and daughter will not let me wear a watermelon helmet. How do I get them to change their minds on it? I will await the answer. Well, Rusty, await no longer. The way you do, you got to show them the advantages. Hey, nobody wanted a telephone in the beginning. Hello, Alexander Graham Bell, are you there? And he was. But the thing about it is, then they see, oh, I see how this could change my life. I can put my snacks on it. I can be hands-free going into town. I can be cooled off in the summertime. That family reunion, it's so hot there. What can I do? And then there's all kind of styles you can make out of it. I got the chin strap on mine this season. So show them some of the videos, and I think they'll be like, oh, bink, bink, what are we waiting for? You welcome, Rusty. Renee T., why do you say Rachel Christine so loud with exclamation points? And why is she Meemaw's favorite? Why is she Meemaw's favorite, Renee? You have to ask her. I don't know. But she real important to Meemaw. And the reason I say Rachel Christine, because around Christmas time, my brother Brett stole her and sold her so he could get money for a battery for a remote control car, I think. Ended up out at Rusty Tidwell's. Rusty was going to give it to her daughter. He didn't know that my brother Brett stole it from Meemaw. So when Meemaw found out Rachel Christine was gone, that's how she hollered her name. Rachel Christine! Rachel Christine! Rachel Christine! Like she had to find her. And that's just how I say it now. David B., since you can steal bases and bunt, am I correct assuming that you are playing fast pitch softball? No, you are incorrect, David B. That's slow pitch. Yep, and stealing bases and bunting, and we slow pitching. It makes it easier to steal a base when it takes so long for that ball to go up in the air so high and then come down so slow. And that's probably how I'm getting as many as I'm getting. But I am quick and I'm wiry. Thanks for the question. Levi, what trailer do you have? It's single wide. It ain't on wheels. It's on blocks. And, you know, I've been there probably 8 or 9 years. Before that, I lived in the trailer 2 trailers back in Chancellor Park with my Meemaw. But it's better that we got our own places now. So that's that. Tom B., do you and Cricket have a song that's your favorite to dance to? I don't know. Not really. I mean, we all like a little Eddie Rabbit, some Van Halen. I Love a Rainy Night, you know, I Love a Rainy Night. That's Doreen Bundle. She liked that song too. Other than that, there's the Butter song. That's the one I wrote though, and I made it too. But I'm more of a break dancer. I'm more of a breaking to electric boogaloo type of guy. So you ain't really dancing with somebody when you do that. It's like a one-man show. I may have to show y'all that sometime, some of my breakdancing skills. Mark M., when you are riding your bike with your lawnmower behind you, and hey, y'all guys, this is the last question of the Q&A, by the way. I felt like I started speeding up here to get through, and we're going to wrap up here in just a minute. But Mark M. says, when you are riding your bike with your lawnmower behind you, does the rope ever get stuck in your tire when you stop, and when you try to start again, it gets caught in a chain and make you fall? I think I might have answered this last season, but this one came in here recently. No, I mean, in the early days when you got a rope behind you, you got to remember, oh, you can't ramp the curb because you got to remember you towing something. But no, I figure, I mean, it's easy now, boy. It looks like, you know, couples ice skating with me and that lawnmower behind me, just going like this away, and you just got to time it, and you got to know when to stop and start. And I ain't always pulling it on the bike anymore. I got an ATV. Sometimes Meemaw's let me put it in the trunk of the Buick Regal before, and I drop it off in town because I know I'll be at different lawns that a whole day, and then ride my bike in, you know, and meet it there, and she go home with the Buick Regal, then I bring it home on the bike. But it does take time, Mark. It takes skill, it takes effort, but there's a way to do it all. That's the Q&A. So that wraps up not only your questions, this wraps up, y'all guys, season 6 of the podcast. I appreciate the questions. I love hanging out with y'all here on the Tab and Dillard podcast. Check the show notes today. There's all kind of stuff in there. How to get involved on Patreon. The Tabin's Bacon Bag is there. All the shirts if you need something for Father's Day. The personal greetings link is there. My phone number 501-322-6249. My email address tabanddillard@gmail.com. I sure appreciate y'all today and every day. And hey, if your Meemaw's favorite baby doll ain't been stolen by your brother Brett, and she go around hollering, Rachel Christine, and then he have to go out to Rusty Tidwell's to get that thing back, and boy, she is mad at him, you having a pretty good week. Thank y'all guys for joining me for not only episode 15, but for this whole season of the Tab and Dillard podcast. I'm Tab and Dillard. This is the Tab and Dillard podcast. We'll see you later.